Today, I want to talk about the last 15 minutes of Rommel's life. I'm standing here in Herrlingen, just outside of Ulm, Germany. And on the 14th of October, 1944, this is the location where one of the most famous German generals of the Second World War died. I'm talking about Rommel, a man who was loved by his men, respected by his enemies, a man rooted deep in controversy, a man who became a victim of the very regime that he served. His life ended right here in this spot on that day in October. Before we get into the details of what happened in this location on the 14th of October 1944, we need a little bit of a backstory. See, by autumn of 44, Rommel was in a very dangerous position with the Nazi leadership. In July, he sustained a head injury during an Allied bombing in Normandy and was sent here in Herrlingen to recover. While at the same time in late July was the assassination attempt on Hitler's life. This left Hitler incredibly paranoid. Now, Rommel's exact involvement wasn't really known to Hitler, but he thought that Rommel at least knew about it. So he sent General Weisel and Burgdorf to his villa in Herrlingen to give him an ultimatum. Option A, you end your life willingly by taking a cyanide capsule. Your family will be spared and you will be given a hero's burial with full military honors. Option B, you deny option A, be tried as a war criminal and a traitor in the German judicial system, will almost certainly be executed, and your family will also suffer the consequences of being the family of a traitor. Rommel obviously chose option A, to protect his family and his name. It was Rommel's decision that brought him to this location on that day. He said goodbye to his family. He got in the car with General Weisel and Burgdorf, and they drove here. And this is where his life ended on that day. So the surviving account that we have of what happened on that day comes from Rommel's son, Manfred. The way he put it was General Weisel and Burgdorf showed up bringing Hitler's ultimatum to Rommel's villa. Manfred then says that Rommel said something along the lines of, "Son, I just told your mother that I will be dead within the next 15 minutes. Rommel then said goodbye to his son, got into a staff car, and they made their way the short distance to this location. This is how the final moments went down. The SS driver pulled up to this countryside road here. General Burgdorf instructed General Weisel and the driver to get out of the car and walk away a bit. General Burgdorf stayed in the back seat with Erwin-Rommel. Rommel, sitting there with the cyanide capsule in his hand, took it and bit on it. Rommel's very final words aren't known to this day, but it was a short while after this that General Burgdorf got out of the vehicle and signaled for the others to come back. And then they drove off. Erwin-Rommel slumped over and gone from this world. So here you can see the road where the staff car would have driven up to. And it's on this location where Rommel's life ended, where he ended it himself, a victim of the regime that he served. If you're walking up to the stone, you can see this little memorial portraying the event that happened here. It says, it was here where General Field Marshal Erwin Rommel on the 14th of October, 1944, chose the free death, or Freitod. He took the cyanide pill and sacrificed himself for his family, for the punishment of Hitler's regime. And up here we can see General Field Marshal Erwin Rommel, 14th of October, 1944. There's some historical locations where you visit and just history seems that much more in reach. This is one of them. I know this isn't some big glorified battlefield, but this is the spot where one of the most famous World War II generals' life ended. A victim of the regime that he served, and Just standing here and looking at the possible last view Erwin-Rommel had, you can almost picture the staff car parked right here. Him saying his last words in that car and his life ending. I do want to make one point clear. Learning about people like this isn't to glorify the past. It's to learn about where we came from so we don't repeat the mistakes of the past. And that is why it's important to visit places like this, because they serve as a memorial to remember the mistakes of the past so we don't repeat them. So shortly after Rommel's life ended right here in this location, his body was brought to Ulm in a funeral home in preparation for the state funeral that Hitler was going to give him. I'm going to take you guys now to Rommel's grave so we can take a look at that. So now we're actually approaching the grave. As you come down these steps, you can see it right here. Here's the grave of Erwin Rommel, one of the most brilliant tank commanders, loved by his men, respected by his enemies. One thing that needs to be noted is if you're here to view the grave of Erwin Rommel, it is within a normal cemetery, so please be respectful of that when you do come here to see it. After Erwin Rommel died, they brought his body to Ulm, and they had to do this kind of quickly because the Nazi lie was that he died of his wounds. Since he was a German war hero, it would be really bad for the public to know that they had him killed off. So they gave him a state funeral with all the propaganda and ceremony that you would expect from such an event. Hitler himself did not attend, but he sent a wreath and a speech to be read off. They put his coffin onto a horse carriage and drove it through the streets. People paid their respects, and that was that. The Nazis used a victim of theirs as propaganda for their own benefit. Thankfully, that wasn't the only funeral Rommel had. He was then later laid to rest here at a private ceremony, surrounded with his family, his friends, and his closest staff. There were very few officers in attendance. And today, you can visit his grave at this cemetery here in Herrlingen. So just behind me, down this hill, is the house where Erwin Rommel was living at when he received the ultimatum from General Meisel and Burgdorf to A, either give up his life willingly and die a military hero, or B, be tried as a traitor in Berlin and suffer the consequences. I'm not going to be filming the house today because it is a privately owned residence. However, there is a plaque that I can show you guys that's outside in front of it. And if you ever do come to visit these sites, please be respectful as it is privately owned. I can't help but to think about the humanity aspect of it when two generals of the army that you're also a part of show up at your door telling you that you are going to die, but you can choose if you want to go honorably, quietly, or go on trial. Having to tell your family that you're going to be dead within the next 15 minutes, it's kind of a strange feeling. I don't know how I would react in that situation. I just think it's really interesting that one of the most famous figures of the Second World War, and maybe one of the most brilliant German commanders ever, died right here in Herrlingen and is buried nearby. And not on some distant battlefield. It makes me think about the time when I visited the German war graves in Cheb, and you had Lieutenant General Geiger, also a German general who was buried with 5 unknown soldiers of his army. It just goes to show, doesn't matter what you achieve in life, anyone can die like a normal person. After the war, Rommel achieved legendary status and was known as the good German general. But today, historians are a little bit more cautious of his role within the Nazi regime, because in the end he did serve a dictatorship that caused the deaths and tyranny of millions of people in Europe during the Second World War and before it as well. So there you have it, the last 15 minutes of Erwin Rommel's life. We covered a little bit of the place he died, why he died, showed you a little bit of the area he's from, or where he died at, and we ended here at his grave. If you enjoyed this video or feel like you learned something, feel free to stick around and subscribe to the channel. We got some more videos coming out soon with some interesting topics as well. And also go check out some of the other videos because they're quite interesting as well. And if you do decide to stick around, it was a pleasure to be able to hopefully teach you guys something, and I will see you in the next one.